Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/125 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
This podcast is supported by The Real Real. Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The Real Real.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The Real Real? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The Real Real than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The Real Real. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to therealreal.com to get your extra $100. Therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com.
Welcome to the Covert Narcissism Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. The holidays with a covert narcissist are indescribable, and I don't mean that in a good way. The holidays are supposed to feel warm, grounding, safe. They're supposed to be a season of peace and connection, rest, maybe even some actual joy. And sure, there might still be disagreements or stress from all the busyness or moments of frustration, but overall, during the holidays, there's this sense of togetherness and happiness. But when you live with a covert narcissist in your home, the holidays don't feel like this at all. They feel more like survival, a performance, a high-stakes emotional balancing act where the rules keep changing and the consequences are quite severe. From the outside, most people never see this. They see the decorated house, the cooked meal, the wrapped gifts, the photos where everyone is, dressed up and smiling. You look like a cohesive family. What they don't see is the reality behind closed doors. They don't see the price that everyone around the covert narcissist is paying. Because in homes like this, the holidays don't revolve around togetherness or shared joy. They revolve around them, the covert narcissist. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism Podcast, where we unpack why moments that are supposed to feel joyful, such as the holidays, can instead and often do feel heavy, tense, and draining when you're living with a covert narcissist. You see, long before the holiday arrives, or the birthday, the anniversary, the vacation, even just the weekend, your nervous system is already activated. It's already on high alert. You're not just preparing food and buying gifts, you're preparing for impact. You're tracking moods, watching tone shifts, noticing irritability that doesn't have a clear cause, and sensing that familiar tightness in your chest that tells you something is coming. You may not consciously think to yourself, I need to make sure they have a good time. But, and maybe you are to the point you're consciously thinking that, but you've already figured this part out for sure. I remember so many family gatherings or times that we were with friends where I was so focused on making sure that he had a good time. I knew I had to. It was my assignment, my duty, my job, or even just the only way I could have a peaceful evening was if he had a good time. You see, over time, you learn something very important here. When they don't enjoy the holiday or birthday or dinner or just an evening, you pay for it. Everyone pays for it. And it's a high price to pay. It isn't always loud and obvious, but it is always consistent. Sometimes you pay with sulking that lingers for days and makes the tension in the house so thick. Sometimes it's a silence that just feels deafening and punishing. Sometimes with emotional withdrawal that makes the house feel bitter cold. Sometimes with subtle digs that are disguised as humor or, tension that just settles into your body and doesn't leave. So you overfunction. You work extra hard to make sure they have a good time. You smooth things out, plan carefully, anticipate reactions, manage other people, and lower your expectations while raising the amount of effort you put in. Now, over the years, you can call this being thoughtful. You think you're just being a good spouse, a good partner. You're being responsible and caring. But that's not what it is. It's survival. I remember preparing for family Christmas gatherings and not really fully understanding how much of myself I was pouring into making everything right for him. Not right for everybody. You want everyone to have a good time. So, yes, you try to get things, as best you can. But this was about him. The menu had to be prepped and planned just right, and I had to make sure there was going to be the stuff there that he wanted there. The house had to feel warm and calm and inviting and welcome. The schedule had to flow smoothly. I remember thinking through all the possible ways that things could go wrong, at least all the ones I could come up with. Not so that everybody has a good time, but so that he has a good time. Because if he has a good time, then everybody can breathe a little bit. I was trying to just make sure we cut off anything that could go wrong before it happened. My kids couldn't sleep in too long. We couldn't delay breakfast too much on Christmas morning, or we couldn't spend any time talking about this or that or the other. I was prepared with topics we could talk about and definitely knew which ones had to be avoided completely. I was thinking about who would sit where, and so will they be comfortable here or will he feel left out if we sit there? I knew how long we could get away with enjoying a gift before opening the next one, anticipating his impatience, watching for these, slight signs and huffing or crossing his arms, making sure I moved things along before there was a problem. I didn't experience this as anxiety at the time. I just thought it was my responsibility as, the mom in the house. I told myself this is just what you do for family. It's what the holidays require. That it was smart, that it was helpful. But the truth is, I was managing emotional landmines long before anyone stepped on one. By the time Christmas Day even came, I was already exhausted. Not because the holidays are busy. Sure, they're busy. They definitely are. With all the gift buying and wrapping and gatherings and baking and kids going this way and that way and family wanting time together. Yeah, it's a busy time of the year, no doubt. But there's a difference between this busy, okay, which is a normal busy during the holidays, and the constant hypervigilance, the emotional busyness, the psychological busyness that goes along with monitoring a covert narcissistic person. I had been regulating someone else's emotional world for weeks. I was trying to create an environment where everyone else could relax because if he wasn't happy, no one was. I told myself it would be worth it, and to be honest, it probably was. If I could manage to keep the holiday time peaceful for my kids just one more year, then okay, it was worth it, at least at the time. The price was too high when things went bad, so I couldn't not do the work. People sometimes ask survivors, well, why do you try so hard? Why don't you just stop doing so much? The answer is simple and painful at the same time. The cost of not trying and not doing is simply too high. If I don't manage the environment, the emotional fallout is unbearable. The kids get lectured for something that they may or may not even have done or may not have been a problem. And even if they did do it, say take some extra time to play with one of their gifts and not notice their parent opening the next gift, the reaction they got was over the top. So the air gets heavy, the joy of Christmas drains instantly, and the entire household feels it. It is miserable for everyone now, except, of course, for the covert narcissist who's now happily opening their gift. They move merrily on, happy because now everyone's paying attention to them, the meanest one in the house. So you take on the invisible job of emotional containment, not because you want a perfect holiday, that is not possible, but because you want a tolerable one. Now, this is not weakness on your part. This is adaptation. And it's an adaptation that I'm going to say takes a lot of strength to be able to get through and to pull off and to do while you're trying to figure out, what do you do in this mess? Like I said earlier, the holiday time, it looks okay from the outside. But inside the home, you're constantly braced. Not just you, everyone. You're watching for the shift, the sigh, the comment that lands sideways, the disappointment that appears without explanation. With a covert narcissist, something always feels just slightly off. They might say it's fine, but their tone and their body language certainly says it's not. They might say, well, I didn't expect much anyway, but their body language says that yes, they did. They might say, I guess this is nice, but you know that they don't mean it. Nothing is openly wrong, but nothing feels quite right. And the tension in the room just keeps building. Your body knows it. Your shoulders stay tight. Your stomach certainly knows it. Your breathing is shallow. Your heart rate stays up. You can't fully relax even during the good moments, quote unquote good moments, because you know how quickly things can change. Now, sometimes, somehow, you manage to pull off an okay holiday. Okay-ish. Weirdly okay. No explosions, no obvious conflict, no visible sabotage. People might even say, well, that seemed like a nice holiday. I've talked before about this weird okay place that we experience with a covert narcissistic person. I don't know about you, but I got really good at being able to keep things mostly okay most of the time. Now, not all of the time, of course. And this involves doing everything their way, monitoring everything, clearing the path of anything that will make them upset, spending massive amounts of your own time and energy centered around them. Then things can stay weirdly okay, at least for extended periods of time. But here's the truth that survivors rarely say out loud. A calm holiday, one single calm holiday or birthday or weekend, does not bring peace to.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/125 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Your heart or calm to your home. It just means you survived, yet again. After these holidays, I remember sitting down alone, sometimes alone, most of the time alone, feeling completely drained and strangely empty. I didn't feel connected. I didn't feel joyful. I didn't really feel even satisfied or content. I felt more relieved that it was over. Thank goodness we got through that. Everybody now can go back to work and school, and we can go back to the distractions of life. And when I was feeling this way, it was starting to click. My eyes were starting to get open. Holidays are not supposed to feel like emotional marathons where you get to the finish line and you collapse. But mine certainly did. Holidays are a time for connection, togetherness, harmony, relaxation, taking, a break from the busyness of life, at least during the window of Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. or the window of a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. It is supposed to be a break from all the busyness, the normal busyness of life. But when you're with a covert narcissistic person, that's not what you experience. The holidays are full, those days are actually full of more stress. Even when things go quote unquote well, there's still no relief. You know it's temporary. You know the tension will return. That is one thing I could always count on. Even if we had an okay day, weirdly okay day, I knew that it would come back. What would come back? The gaslighting, the blame shifting, the guilt manipulation, the sighing and huffing, the unreasonable demands and expectations, the inability to have a conversation, the circular conversations. I always knew that the next one wasn't too far off. So your nervous system never fully stands down. You never really relax. This is why the holidays don't feel restorative, they feel depleting. Now, as we move into a new year, here in just a couple of days, I want to offer you a different kind of invitation, not a New Year's resolution, not pressure to heal faster or to be further on the journey than you are, but an invitation to be right where you are and to choose self-care. Even if it feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, maybe guilt-inducing, many survivors have been taught something that is deeply distorted, that caring for yourself is selfish. And I want to talk about this for a minute. Self-care versus selfishness. Selfishness is prioritizing yourself at the expense of others. It is, I matter and you don't. I am important and you are not. Selfishness has no regard for the impact of one's words and actions on the people around them. That is not the same as self-care. Self-care is prioritizing yourself because you matter, but not at the expense of others. It says, I matter and so do you. My needs are important and so are yours. We are equally important in this world. I should take care of me and you should take care of you. Selfishness says only my needs matter. Self-care says my needs matter too. And I want you to hear me when I say this. A healthier you creates a healthier world around you. Self-care allows you to show up to this world as a better version of you. Self-care allows that exhausted mom to rest and take some time for herself so she can show up for her kids with patience and grace. Self-care allows a tired dad to take the break he needs and focus on some self-care for himself so that he can show up better for his family. When you've lived with a covert narcissist, you've often been conditioned to believe that any attention you give to yourself is wrong, is dangerous, is the problem. It's the reason we're not getting along. It's why our family is falling apart. That is not true. It is vitally important. Self-care does not have to be dramatic or Instagram worthy. Sometimes it just looks like saying no without explaining, resting without earning it, whatever that means, leaving a room when your body says it's too much, letting disappointment exist without fixing it, or choosing peace over performance. Now, it may feel awkward at first, it may stir guilt, but that does not mean it's wrong. I want to remind you the difference between actual guilt and guilt placed on you by others. I've talked about this as well before on the podcast. When guilt is placed on you by others, that has a name. It's called blame. You see, you feel guilt when you've done something that you believe is wrong. So when you are choosing self-care, I want you to ask yourself, what have I done here that is wrong? And if the answer is nothing, then it isn't guilt that you are feeling, at least not true guilt. You are feeling guilt that has been laid on you by someone else, and that's called blame. If you've lived in survival mode for years, choosing self-care can feel destabilizing, like letting go of the only system that ever worked. But here's the truth. That system worked to keep you surviving, and it got you this far, so you can thank it for the job it served. But now it's time to move out of surviving and into thriving. Let's make this new year, this next year, a year of self-care, a year of you stepping into the person that you can be. As you step into this year, I don't want you to pressure yourself to fix everything. This isn't about you becoming more perfect or better. This is about you caring for yourself. I encourage you to begin asking this question: what would it look like this year to take care of myself, even a little? That's not selfish, that's healing. If this episode resonates with you, hit that subscribe button or that follow button or that like button, whatever it is for you and on your platform. We've got some really exciting things coming in the year 2026. I cannot wait to begin announcing them. We are going to keep naming what was never named. We will keep untangling what was normalized but never okay. And we will keep moving slowly and gently toward a life that does not require exhaustion just to feel weirdly okay. You deserve more than surviving in this world. You deserve peace that does not have to be earned. I wish you so much peace on this journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism Podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and infinitely frustrating individuals. If you are caught up in this crazy-making relationship and drowning in self-doubt, guilt, or rumination, please reach out to me anytime. I offer individualized live coaching in both group and individual settings. We can find the right program for you. You do not need to go through this alone. You can find all of that information on my website at covertnarcissism.com. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, Renee, at covertnarcissism.com. I do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I am a coach, and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success, like your enrollment specialist who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
And now, Superhuman Shaq.
I keep telling them not to say that. I'm no superhuman. Believe it or not, I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. In adults with obesity, moderate to severe OSA is a condition where breathing is interrupted during sleep with loud snoring, choking, gasping for air, and even daytime fatigue. Let's just say it can sound a lot like this. Sound familiar? Learn more at don'tsleeponosa.com.
This information is provided by Lilly, a medicine company.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Hi, I'm Andy Staples from Andy and Ari on 3, and another five-star quarterback just entered the transfer portal. That's what college football is now, a nonstop adventure, and we cover it every day at Andy and Ari on 3, whether it's the transfer portal, the college football playoff, the coaching carousel, you name it, and guess what? It doesn't stop even when the season ends. So join us every day, Monday through Friday. New episodes drop at 3 p.m. wherever you get your podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.